June 29, 2008. Vienna. Fernando Torres outruns a German defender and lifts the ball over the goalkeeper. 44 years of waiting, and in one touch, 10 years later. July 10, 2018, St. Petersburg. A corner swings in. Samuel Umtiti rises, the net ripples, and the most talented squad on earth watches its dream die in a single header. Two nations, two golden generations, both produce players the world will never forget. Both arrived at the same crossroads, where talent meets history. Only one crossed. Spain built a dynasty, Belgium built a dream. This is the story of why one became immortal, and the other became football's greatest what if. Every great football nation has a generation that changes everything. For Spain, it did not arrive overnight. There was no miracle, no sudden revolution. It grew slowly on the training pitches of La Masia, Barcelona's academy, founded in 1979, built on a strange idea for its time. That intelligence matters more than size, that a player should be taught to read the game, not just play it. From those pitches came Xavi, who controlled matches like a clock controls time, Andres Iniesta, who turned impossible spaces into open doors, Sergio Busquets, who mastered the art of doing the invisible. Around them stood Iker Casillas, Gerard Piqué, Fernando Torres, Cesc Fabregas. Individually, exceptional. Together, almost impossible to stop. And hundreds of kilometers north, another nation was quietly assembling something extraordinary: Belgium. For decades, Belgium had been respected, rarely feared. Then, almost at once, a remarkable generation appeared. Vincent Kompany became one of Europe's finest defenders. Kevin De Bruyne grew into a midfielder widely regarded as one of the best of his era. Eden Hazard dismantled defenses with effortless brilliance. Romelu Lukaku scored goals at a rate Belgium had never seen. Thibaut Courtois stood among the world's elite goalkeepers. Dries Mertens, depth in every position. By the middle of the 2000s, Belgium had what almost every nation envied. On paper, they had everything. But paper has never lifted a trophy. Before 2008, Spain carried a painful reputation. Brilliant individuals, beautiful football, heartbreaking exits, always the favorites, never the winners. Tournament after tournament, Spain arrived with expectation and left with regret. Then Luis Aragonés took charge of the national team, and he made one of the boldest decisions in Spanish football history. He abandoned the old traditions. He stopped trying to win with power, the currency football had always rewarded. He built around short passes, movement without the ball, complete trust between players. The style would come to be called tiki-taka, possession as a weapon, patience as a strategy, control the ball, and you control time, space, emotion. Eventually, the game itself. Many doubted him. Casillas would later credit Aragonés as the man who changed Spanish football history, but in 2008 that history had not been written yet. Spain traveled to the European Championship carrying the same old expectations. They defeated Italy, they overcame Russia, and in the final in Vienna, in the 33rd minute, Torres chased a long pass into space. One touch, one finish, Germany 0, Spain 1. 44 years without a major trophy. Over. By the summer of 2008, no one doubted them anymore. What Spain did next had never been done before. 2 years later came South Africa, the 2010 World Cup. Spain did not overwhelm opponents with spectacular scorelines. They suffocated them. Every pass drained confidence. Every minute without the ball exhausted the opposition. Under Vicente del Bosque, the machine Aragonés had built kept turning. Germany chased shadows in the semi-final. And in the final in Johannesburg, against the Netherlands, the match became a war of patience. 90 minutes, nothing. Extra time, still nothing. Then in the 116th minute, the ball fell to Iniesta. One finish. Spain were world champions for the first time in their history. Still, they were not finished. At Euro 2012, many expected fatigue. Others predicted decline. Instead, Spain produced one of the greatest tournament performances ever witnessed. In the final in Kyiv, Italy were dismantled, the largest margin of victory in any European Championship final. Euro 2008, World Cup 2010, Euro 2012, 3 consecutive major tournaments. No nation had ever done it. No nation has done it since. And here is the detail history often skips. Across the knockout stages of all 3 tournaments, Spain did not concede a single goal, not one. That is not luck, that is not talent, that is identity. Managers across Europe copied them. Academies redesigned their training. In 2012, Barcelona fielded an entire starting 11 of La Masia graduates. Spain had not simply won trophies, they had changed the language of football itself. While Spain were making history, Belgium were preparing to write their own. At least that is what the world believed. By 2018, the consensus was growing. Belgium possessed perhaps the most complete squad in international football. De Bruyne saw passes no one else could imagine. Hazard glided past defenders as if they were standing still. Lukaku terrified backlines across Europe. Courtois made the impossible look routine. Under Roberto Martinez, they attacked with freedom and flair. Then came Kazan, the 2018 World Cup quarterfinal, Brazil, 5-time champions. Belgium went ahead. De Bruyne struck a decisive goal. Belgium had knocked out Brazil and reached a World Cup semifinal for the first time in 32 years. It felt like destiny. The golden generation had finally arrived at the door history had built for them. One match stood between Belgium and the final, France, 90 minutes to define an entire generation. The pressure had never been higher. July 10th, 2018, St. Petersburg. The floodlights burned white over the pitch. Belgium had the ball. Belgium had the stars. De Bruyne searched for openings. Hazard danced along the left. Lukaku wrestled with one of the strongest defenses in world football. Then, the 51st minute, a corner for France. The ball curled toward the near post. Samuel Umtiti rose. One header. The net rippled. Belgium pushed. They passed. They pressed. France did what Spain had once done to the world. They controlled the moment. The whistle blew. Belgium's players stood frozen under the lights, staring at a final they would never reach. All that talent, all those years, undone by a single corner kick. Time seemed to stop. Days later, Belgium defeated England to finish third, the best result in Belgian football history. Nobody celebrated like champions, because everyone understood the truth. This generation had been built to win the World Cup, not to finish third. And after 2018, time became Belgium's greatest opponent. Kompany retired. Hazard's body betrayed him, injuries stripping away the brilliance until he stepped away from international football entirely. Witsel faded. The defenders aged. Even De Bruyne, perhaps the greatest footballer Belgium ever produced, could not stop the clock. He would go on to lift the Champions League with Manchester City in 2023, the one trophy his country needed. He never got the chance to win. There was no dramatic collapse, no single night of disaster, just a quiet acceptance, year by year, player by player. One by one, the greatest generation in Belgian history walked away without the prize they were assembled to claim. The dream did not shatter, it simply dissolved. So what was the difference? Not talent. Belgium may have had more of it, position for position, not luck. One header does not explain a decade. The difference was foundation. Spain's generation was grown. La Masia taught its children humility and footballing intelligence, a shared way of seeing the game before they ever wore the national shirt. Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Piqué, they arrived at tournaments already speaking the same language. Belgium's generation was gathered. Brilliant players, developed in different leagues, different systems, different footballing dialects, each of them extraordinary. Together, never quite one idea. Spain had a philosophy that outlived any single player. Belgium had players who outshone any single philosophy. One built a culture, the other collected stars. And when the decisive moments came, a 116th minute pass in Johannesburg, a 51st minute corner in St. Petersburg, the culture held. The collection did not. That is why Spain's era produced 3 trophies and 0 knockout goals conceded. And why Belgium's era produced memories and a bronze medal nobody wanted. Even now, the story continues. A new La Masia graduate, Lamine Yamal, is already being discussed among the favorites for football's greatest individual awards. The academy keeps producing, the system keeps working. That is what a dynasty means. It does not end when the players do. Football is often called a game of fine margins, 1 goal, 1 save, 1 corner. But Spain and Belgium were not separated by a margin. They were separated by years of preparation, years of belief in something larger than any name on the team sheet. Belgium gave the world unforgettable footballers. Spain gave the world unforgettable football. History remembers the moment. It forgets the minutes before it. But the moment is never an accident. It is built in academies, in decisions, in the patience to trust an idea when the whole world doubts it. Dynasties are never built by stars alone. They are built by purpose. So when you watch the next golden generation rise, do not count their talent. Ask what holds them together, because that is the only thing history will ever measure. Beyond the bench. This is Beyond the Bench.